Hello there, this is Heirs to the Kingdom channel, and today's lesson we have a couple of short ones, so we're doing chapters 10 and 11 together. And so it'll be a total of 30 verses, and they are in the way of Proverbs. So some of these I think they should have just went ahead and put in Proverbs with it. I don't know why it gets its own book, because we already determined that, this also has to be written by King Solomon. But either or, Bible is the Bible. God's Word is God's Word. If you're new to this is a Bible study channel. I can read through the King James Bible. I explain parts of it. I explain which parts pertain to today and which parts don't. I study from the King James. It's, like I said before, I know God approves of this version. The other ones, they change the meanings of some things and stuff, so I don't like that. I know God approves of this one, so I stick with this one. But if you want to know the Bible more and you're just new to this, I do recommend starting off on my channel at Genesis chapter 1 and getting caught up. But if you want to stick around and learn, then by all means, please do so. But we are going to go ahead and jump right on into this lesson. I said it is like Proverbs, so each one of these is going to get a little bit of, an explanation to them. That way, some people says, well, I understand that, but there's, other people that view this that may say, what does that mean? And that's why I go ahead and talk about them. So let's go ahead and get started here. Genesis. Ecclesiastes 10 verse 1. Dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor. So doth a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. So the apothecary part's also where they made perfumes. They made ointments for medicine. They made healings. They made perfumes. So dead flies make things stink, even in a thing that's supposed to smell good. Same thing as when somebody of wisdom and honor that has a reputation does a little folly, does a little bad. It makes them stink. It makes you stink to, even though you're known for doing really good and everything. That's like that old saying, one rotten apple ruins a whole bunch. In the military, we had a saying, one old crap messes up a whole lot of attaboys. Yeah. Same thing. Verse 2. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart at his left. So, this one, I think, is how they started getting, because like me, I was born left-handed. And they used to punish people that did things left-handed because they thought of it as wrong. But it's really not. But, a wise man does things correctly and a fool doesn't. So that's what they're meaning by that, because normally most people are right hand, and odd people, well, it was an oddity to have someone left-handed. There's many ways you can say that. So, but yeah, a wise man does the things correctly, and a fool's heart doesn't. Verse 3. Yea, also, when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he saith to every one that he is a fool. So when somebody walks in foolishness and does foolishness, they let everybody know that they are a fool. It's the same thing as know a tree by the fruit it bears. If it acts, the old saying, if it's stupid is, as stupid does. If it does stupid things, they're stupid. If they do evil things, they're evil. Like modern people today that, I always use feminism as a little example here, but also you got the players. So the men that also act like feminists out there, going against God's word, they are wicked. They're evil. They're Satanists. They rather follow Satan in the world than God. So it all falls into the same thing. Verse 4. If the spirit of the ruler rise up against thee, leave not thy place, for yielding pacifieth great offenses. It's the same thing like, like in modern days, if a cop is chasing you, coming at you quickly, don't run away. It makes you look guilty. Sometimes you sit there and you just have a calm conversation because they think, hey, you did it. It's like, oh, no, sir, it wasn't me. If you just kind of talk calmly and, and act yielding and everything else, it helps calm down to things. And, but here talking about a ruler, because in biblical time, or even in today's times, if a ruler comes up against you, they're pretty much going to kill you. They'll have the ability to do so. They don't have the right to, but they have the ability to. And so, if you try to run away and stuff, then that just, it'll fuel their anger even more. Many ways that could be like pick your battles. Don't live in a quarrelsome area. Like if you believe in the Constitution, don't live in a blue city. Just don't. You're not going to have the constitutional rights there. Hopefully that'll be changing soon when people start getting back to the Constitution instead of socialism. But it may take quite a few more years to get that, because there's a lot of people that love to take your rights, but they want to sit there and say that they have rights. I always find that odd. I'm like, if you're saying I don't have rights, then that means that you're okay with you not having rights. And they're always offended by that. And it's like, whatever, A fool does foolish things. There you go. 5. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler. So when rulers do things unjust, it's evil. Because rulers get people killed. Rulers doing unjust things, they hurt people's lives. It's like, politicians today passing laws and uprising taxes, destroying the economy, creating inflation, destroying the dollar, but we don't make enough money to afford the new cost of everything, blah, blah, blah. These people are doing error things, and they are doing much evil in the eyes of the Lord. So, if you want to explain it in modern times, there you go. There's many ways. It's like, other thing, these people letting illegal immigrants that are part of gangs into the country, and now people are being murdered. Well, our rulers are allowing this to happen, and so God calls them evil because they've allowed evil to happen. They've caused it. Let's go on to verse 6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. So it's talking about, a lot of times, prime example, American politicians again. You have a lot of foolish or people that do bad things. They're in places of dignity. They're in places of leadership. And there's a lot of rich people that are in very low positions. A lot of rich people in America, they have more money than these politicians, but they are at the mercy of these politicians at the same time. And it's like, but these people that are running businesses and making money and this, that, and the other, and they know how things work, they should be more in charge of the economy than people that don't have a clue or never worked a day in their life. Bernie Sanders, he's never had a job. He went straight into politics. He's never had a real job. He went straight into try to being a politician, this, that, and the other. He lived with his parents until he got successful enough and started making some money doing it on his own. And now he has 3 mansions and stuff, but he's saying, hey, rich need to give up their money while he is now a multimillionaire. Go figure, Evil people do evil things. Verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So, plain and simple, very straight point. Very straight and to the point. Sorry. My dyslexia is kicking in and my brain's like, let's not put those words in there right now. We've all seen stuff like that. We've seen poor people driving fancy cars, and we see rich people walking instead of in a car. Keanu Reeves does stuff like that. You'll see him on the New York subway and stuff. And I find that kind of weird that if you have that much money, you would stay in New York City. But I guess some people love it. I'm the type, no, I need woods, mountains, hillsides, streams, rivers, lakes, ponds, grass. I hate concrete. Don't like asphalt. I would rather be, on a horseback doing things and stuff. I gotta be with nature. You put me in a city and stuff, all I want to do is just, how do I get out of here? Like, which way is whatever direction I need to go to exit? To each their own. Some people love cities. I myself can't stand them. I'd rather be with God's nature than with man's chaos. Let's continue on verse 8. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh an hedge, a serpent shall bite him. Now, a hedge is normally something that's a border kind of put up. It could be a wall. It's normally done with plants and stuff where you break through. You don't know what's on the other side. You can get harmed. Normally when you dig a pit, the pit is a trap. That's what it means. They dug pits to catch animals. There's a very easy way to catch animals. You just dig a pit and cover some things, and eventually a predator come walk over it and fall into the hole, and they can't get back out, and you come up, and it's either a predator or it's something you want to eat. It doesn't matter. Either or. You got the idea. Verse 9. Whoso removeth stones shall be hurt therewith, and he that cleaveth wood shall be endangered thereby. So, removeth stones. It's like, moving stones around and stuff. It's going to hurt you. Now, how can it hurt you? They can fall on you. They can pinch your fingers. They're going to destroy your body because it's a lot of weight. Now, it says remove the stones. Normally, stones are going to be in a wall or in a building, something like that. And you start removing, it may collapse on. It may collapse on you. Stuff like that. And he that cleaveth wood means splitting. So that's like, cleaveth is, think about a woman's cleavage. The middle of, the splitting of. That's what, cleaveth wood. When splitting wood, shall be endangered thereby. So yeah, anytime you're splitting wood, you have a chance of hurting yourself. And you can even die from it. If the handle breaks, the axe head comes flying back at you, cut you, hit you in the head, knock you out, cause a concussion, brain bleed, blah, 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 hit an artery, whatever else. There's many ways. I used to have to heat homes and stuff by wood only. Did a lot of splitting wood till I finally said, forget this. I'm getting me a gas-operated hydraulic splitter. I'm like, yep, it's the best way to do it. Yeah, so it gets old. So you were working all daggone day long and stuff. Then you got to come home and split wood so you can heat the house. You got to keep enough wood split ready to go and everything else and keep the fire going all day. That's a wood furnace. You can do that. You potbelly stoves or fireplaces, they can't do that. But you get a good furnace that's got properly controlled dampeners. You can keep some a decent fire and some embers going easily 8 hours. But yeah, moving on. Verse 10. If the iron be blunt and he do not whet the edge, then must he put to more strength. But wisdom is profitable to direct. Now this goes back to the cleaveth the wood, splitting wood, the iron part being the axe. If it's blunt, because you didn't sharpen the edge, this, that, and the other, you got to put a lot more strength into doing the same job. If you don't take care of your stuff, your life becomes harder. And it says that's what it's talking about. But wisdom is profitable to direct. So it's like, people that do things the smart way don't hurt themselves as much. They don't have to overwork themselves. Verse 11. Surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and a babbler is no better. Now, when I say I prefer the King James Version, I'm going to read NIV also in this very one, because I like to do stuff like this to see what's this, how it just doesn't make any sense. Now, the NIV says the same things. If a snake bites before it is charmed, the charmer receives no fee. That's not even remotely close to saying the same thing. A babbler is somebody that spreads lies and rumors. So 11 makes sense in King James versus the NIV. Was like, what are you talking about? A snake doesn't have to be enchanted to bite you. Snakes bite. That's what they do. If they feel threatened, whatever, they bite. It says, but, somebody that spreads lies and rumors, they bite as well. Either one will harm you, can kill you. A serpent, the serpent's not really normally known as being poisonous. A viper is a poisonous snake. A serpent is more of just a snake. That's not as dangerous, not life-threatening. But, they can still harm you. Depending upon who you are and your health, this, that, and the other, because they all have a little bit of poison in them. Not all, but I'm just saying, if it is a poisonous snake, doesn't mean it has enough poison to hurt you. Like all spiders have venom, but a lot of them can't hurt you, so they're not dangerous to humans, but they're dangerous to other things. You get the idea on that, but yeah. I was saying, this is the reason why I stick with King James. I said, I was just following along with the NIV while I was studying the King James at the same time. So I'm like, what are they talking about? The charmer receives no fee. I was like, are you supposed to charm a snake for it to bite? So if a snake bites before it is charmed, the charmer receives no fee? That makes no sense. Anyways, I just like to share stuff like that. But verse 12. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. So the words of a wise man is a good thing. The words of a foolish person will even consume the fool. Pretty much, you just let people that I say right now, the Democrats right now, they're sitting there like they keep spreading lies talking about we don't have any soldiers in dangerous areas and this, that, and the other, not in active conflicts and blah blah blah. And this, it's like these foolish people. Just let them keep talking. They'll bury themselves in their lies and stuff. Just let them keep talking. Don't try to shut them up. Just let them keep talking. But, it's many other things they say. I just use that as an example. But, yeah, anyways, let's continue on. Verse 13. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness, and the end of his talk is mischievous madness. I'm sorry, that goes back to the, so go ahead, we're going to, 12 and 13 goes together. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness, and the end of his talk is mischievous madness. All of these kind of go together here, so let's continue on. A fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell what shall be and what shall be after him. Who can tell him? It's the same things like, a foolish person is full of words, and they're trying to tell the future, this, that, and the other. It says no man can tell what the future, what is to come of somebody or anything like that. No one knows really the future and stuff. I mean, you can have foresight and seeing, hey, if we stay on this path, something, you have more of a chance of this happening. It's heading that direction. That's a little different. But, it's when you know how to recognize patterns. That's more of being wise versus just foolish. A foolish person, just babbles, whatever, just randomly says stuff. And continue on 15. The labor of the foolish wearieth everyone of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. So, when you have somebody that, just, they don't know basic things, and then you try to put them in the workforce, they hurt everyone. Everyone's got to keep going back behind them and checking on them, cleaning up after them, correcting their mistakes, blah, blah, blah. Knowing how to get to town is supposed to be a very common thing. And if they don't know how to do that, it's like you don't want to give somebody like that a job. This is somebody that I don't know what you do with them. You have to find some place for them. You have to try to help them. But, it takes, that's the person that you put to a little special class so they can start learning basic things and start teaching them basic common sense. That would help out them a lot. Continue on 16. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. Now, when you eat, you drink wine in those days. So, if your ruler is childish or inexperienced, very kind of like most politicians today that's never had a real job, Mr. Sanders, and stuff, but you want to tell me how to live type stuff. Woe to the land where your ruler is a child or childish and whatever. And then you got like princes, could be the other politicians and stuff like that, where they're drinking in the morning. Pretty much that they're useless. They're just there to consume and not benefit anybody of any sort whatsoever. Like, Americans, politicians. I say the world's leaders right now, the majority of them are that way, but they like to consume, but they don't like to help. And now we got to remember what God says on that. God says, you're to take care of your house first before you give to charity. Now, this also means it's worded in the way of a father and his family, but also it means by people in charge and stuff too. And it says those who help others before taking care of their own first are worse than an infidel. So now you know what to think of these politicians today whenever they keep wanting to take your stuff and your resources and money and everything else and help other people without helping us here when we need help ourselves. So, that tells you automatically how ungodly they are. That's the last section of chapter 10. Let's continue on here. Blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season, for strength and not for drunkenness. So that kind of coincides with the other one. Because when your king is of nobles, sons of nobles, they are raised to be, Fluffy said this, where he talked about he met a prince in Saudi Arabia. I think that's where he went to the Middle East to do a concert. And he says, when these people present themselves, you just feel beneath them because they present themselves that way because they've been raised to be that way. That's what it's meaning here when, blessed are you whenever your rulers were raised by people teaching them to be in that position. That, this is your responsibility. You're to present yourself this way. You're to live this way. You're not to be like, Skid Row people. You're not to go to clubs and party. This, you like Trump. He was raised that way. He was raised to be at a certain level, far above most of us, because he had the opportunity for the training. His father made sure of it, blah, blah, blah. He went to special schools for it and everything else. You got the idea. But same thing is like when you have the other people. Princes are also people in charge. They're not the king, but they're underneath the king. They're between you and the king type stuff, whatever. And If they eat, if they do things in a proper way and not for self-pleasure, then you have a very blessed. We used to be that in this country of America. We used our politician stuff. They were that. And now, they speak well, so they must be good. And that's how they've gotten their corruption in. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff about that. And I don't want to be on that too long. You get the idea. Verse 18. By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. Now, what's mean is like your roof will leak. So you got lazy people. I just hit the microphone. Sorry for that noise. When you got people that are not wanting to do their job right and stuff like that, the building's going to suffer. It's going to sag. It's not going to be built well. And if you don't, and because your hands were idle, you didn't really want to do the job right, you wanted someone else to do it, whatever type people, these, lazy people, your house is going to leak, your walls are going to crumble, it's going to be a house like, this is condemned when it was freshly built type stuff. You don't want to be in it. This is why it's telling people, be wary of those who are slothfulness, who are lazy, good for nothings. Like these people that, I don't want to work, I want someone else to pay my way. The leftoids today, there are a lot of them like that. They just want to eat Hot Pockets, play video games all day long. And the girls, they just want to freaking be fat and lazy and take up, 3 seats on an airplane. They want to be able to travel and stuff, but someone else should pay their way. They want to be able to eat whatever they want to, and everybody should love them for it type of stuff. These people are supposed to be cast out and just no, leave them to their own vices. Don't help them one bit. That's what God even says. These people will only learn to be better when you drop them on their keisters and let them pick themselves up. They'll either die or pick themselves up, one or the other. But yeah, you're not supposed to help them. You're supposed to let them, teach them to help themselves. And if they don't want to, then you just wash your hands of them and walk away. Anyways, verse 19. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. There's many ways you can decipher that and stuff. It's true. If you have money, your life is a whole lot easier. You can enjoy life better and this, that, and the other. But also, it answereth all things. If you are consumed by money, it shows. So, you can tell, there are many ways of looking at that same passage, but it all kind of comes into the same point there. You don't have to have money to enjoy food, but a feast, you have to have money for a feast. Wine maketh merry. Yeah, you're not really supposed to be drinking for drunkenness or this, that, and the other and stuff. But if you've been in a hard day, you're sad, you're whatever, and you just need the Bible's always talked about that. Giving someone, drink and stuff like that that's been in severe poverty or mourning or something like that to help them forget their problems for a little bit. But yeah. So you got the idea there. Last verse of 10. Curse not the king, no, not in thy thoughts. And curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. So if you don't know what a homing pigeon is, they used to put notes, tie it to the leg of a bird, and the bird was released, and it had a place it knew to fly to. And this is how you sent messages. They would fly. They knew which direction to go to. You had certain birds to go to certain other palaces or towns or this, that, and the other. They would land there. People would get them. So, a message is in. Boom. This is what it says. Be wary of what you talk about or even your thoughts. This is also saying, you can't hide from your thoughts or what you do. Whether you're in your bedroom or out in the open, God knows what you're doing. It's an easy way of also knowing this. So God is the king, but if you're causing problems in a city or in an area and it's ruled by a king, the king finds out about it. How's that guy on Friday? It's your butt, Mr. Postman. Yeah, it's going to be your keister. So, anyways, let's continue on now to chapter 11. Cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Now, it means cast, it means, your grain and bread. They use grain to make bread. Ship it across the sea, cast it upon the water, ship it across the sea and stuff. And in many, in days to come, you should have your rewards for that, because it's pretty much being a merchant, shipping goods. It means it's like, have a lot's going to be talking about here in 11 is having multiple ways of making money. Like here, say you're a farmer and you have grain, and over here you have corn. Okay, you're going to grind corn and sell corn meal here locally. You're going to take your grain and ship it across, put it on the ship to go across to other areas, and boom, your money comes back that way, because if your corn meal fails here or gets infested or stolen, you're still going to have money coming in from another area. This is something that a lot of people are not taught. I was not taught this either, about making money. That, do not put your eggs in one basket when it comes to making money. But a lot of times today, you have a job that consumes all your time and energy. So it's kind of hard to have other things going as well. But, one job is not supposed to consume your entire day, but this is how things have become. Either or, but it's, there's a lot of these proverbs here are going to be talking about, making sure you have other ways of making money or living. You don't want to rely on just one, because it may fail. You get the idea. Verse 2. Give a portion to 7 and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. Same thing, invest in 7 or 8 different ways of making money and stuff, because you don't know what's going to happen for this or for that. So that way you have multiple pathways, of stuff coming back in that you can live off of. Verse 3. If the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if the tree fall toward the south or toward the north, in the place where the tree falleth, there it shall be. So clouds travel, but when a tree is in one place and it falls, it's still going to be there. Unless someone drags it off. But, we get the idea that trees are in one place, the clouds are not. It's more talking about, sometimes you got to do stuff that benefits over here, because if you just try to make money in one place, same thing. Verse 4. He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. So people are just standing around, and they're watching the wind blow. They're not working. They're not sowing seeds. And other people are just looking around. Oh, look at the clouds, man. That one looks like a guppy. They're not working. They're not reaping the harvest, this, that, and the other. They're useless people. We all know people like that, and you have to walk away. It's like, nope. They'll always come begging for help later on. It's like, hey, here's a sandwich, and I get out of here. I need help, man. It's like, you need to help yourself. Get to work. Get a job. Welfare people like that, they want to be provided for, but they don't want to earn it. It's very sad that people want to live that way, but, once again, these people are like, worse than infidels. They just want to consume from other people. They don't want to take care of their own, but they want to be taken care of. Yeah, Verse 5. As thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child, even so thou knowest not the works of God who maketh all. Self-explanatory. Verse 6. In the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand. For thou knowest not whether it shall prosper, either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good. Same thing, like, okay, you planted seeds in the morning, so come in the evening time, do something else to make money, because your field may fail. And the other thing is something you can make money from. It's like, you don't know if both of them are going to be good or just one. Now, both of them could fail. But you got to give yourself multiple options here. It's like if you're going to college for one thing, go to college for two different things. That way you have something to fall back on and not just putting all your breads in one basket for a gender study degree that's going to get you nothing because there's no jobs in gender studies. You might want to take accounting as well. Continue on verse 7. Truly the light is sweet, and a pleasant thing it is for the eyes to behold the sun. But if a man live many years and rejoice in them all, yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they shall be many. All that cometh is vanity. That's very self-explanatory. You don't really need to decipher that much at all. And the last section is only 10 verses and 11. That's why I added it to this. Verse 9. Rejoice, O young man, in thy youth, and let thy heart cheer thee in the days of thy youth, and walk in the ways of thine heart, and in the sight of thine eyes. But know thou that for all these things God will bring thee into judgment. So, of course, enjoy life, do this, do that, and everything else. But remember, God's watching all, and God's going to judge you one day for what you do. But let's continue on, because verse 10 is part of this. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh. For childhood and youth are vanity. Pretty much being a child or being a childish or this, that, and the other, and your youthful days and stuff, they're meaningless. Those days are for you to get, when it's talking about childhood and youth, this is before you're at the age of learning to be useful. So childhood, they would consider that 2 years old. 2 years old, you're already eating solid things. You're off the milk sacks and stuff like that by this time period. You're eating other things and stuff now. But you're still useless in any way because you got to be provided for. You got to be fed, changed, bathed, blah, blah, blah. You haven't learned that much yet. And all this stuff is normally up to about the age of 10. Once you get closer to the age of 10, you're already doing house chores now. Like me, at the age of 5, I was learning to do house chores, washing dishes, using the broom, vacuum cleaners, dusting, mopping, all this other stuff, cleaning windows, making beds, tying my own shoes. You got, washing yourself, wiping your own butt, whatever. You got the idea there. But those times of your lives are pretty much almost useless. Those times before you're actually becoming useful, because you're more of a burden than a benefit. You're just kind of there, and someone's always got to help you. You get the idea. But anyways, that's the end of this lesson. And so we're right here at the 40-minute mark. I am not going to talk much more. The Proverbs are good. A lot of good ones in here. And like I said, everything under the sun, nothing's new. Everything that talked about in here is stuff we deal with today. It's happened then, thousands of years ago. It's happening now, thousands of years later. It's the same thing. It's a broken record when it comes to life. It's the same thing. It's just different technology, but it's the same thing. Just repeating itself over and over and over again. This is why we're to learn history, so we don't repeat it. That's a lot of the lessons of the Bible. Learn history, learn what bad already happened before, and don't do it. That way you don't repeat it. But yeah. I'm going to go ahead and end this lesson here, so remember to pray Pray for yourself. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I pray for you. Pray for the lost. Pray for these governments. And let's pray that the new administration coming in, that's going to be majority, House, Senate, and presidency, all Republican. Now, of course, I am not going to sit there and say Republicans are great people. No. See, you got the lazy, worthless people of the Democrats that are just wanting money for doing nothing, and then you have the greedy ones of the Republicans. It's like, I'm not either one. I'm more of a centrist. You know, if I was running as a politician, I'd be under the Christian ticket. I'd be under the godly ticket, not Democrat or Republican. But I do trust the Republicans more than the Democrats. And I think because Republicans says, oh, well, we want to make a lot of money, and if we're making a lot of money, then you make good money. I'm like, I'll take that over, hey, we're going to take everything from you and give it to other people who don't want to work at all. I'll take the Republican side over the Democrat side of complete laziness, slothfulness, and uselessness. And the other people might be a little bit greedy, but hey, they know that they need workers to make things happen. And so at least they'll take care of you a little bit. At least you'll be able to at least live your life, you know. But yeah, let's just, pray that we don't have a lot of rhinos coming in. That's going to be just flies in the ointment. So now but going back to the other part, we're talking about flies in the ointment causing a stink, dead flies in the ointment. Now you know where that saying comes from, being flies in the ointment. There you have it. But, yeah. But remember how to pray. It's very easy. Just talk to God. But also remember, God says he does not hear prayers of the heathens. Unless you are one of his children, he does not hear your prayers. The Bible says this. So remember that as well. So if you're not saved, you can't really pray to God. He ain't going to hear you. What you need to do is study God's word and start having more faith and belief in him. He'll call upon you, and you answer that calling to him, and you'll know it. He'll be talking to you. He'll be talking to your heart. And you get blessed with the Holy Spirit, and boom, guess what? Now you're one of his. Now he hears your prayers. That's how you do it. But yeah. Until next time, God bless, good night, and goodbye.